I didn't realize that you felt that whatever you went into the competitions, were actually, were not optimal for these competitions. So that probably started the biohacking for you, right? So you had to hack into your own body. And how did you do that? Like, what were some of the tricks that you used?
Yeah, thanks for asking. And what's interesting is you'll see this pattern, I think, in the greatest coaches in sports are seldom the champions. They're usually people on the bubble that had suboptimal capabilities in given sports that had to learn all of the other elements in order to be competitive. And from that, they then take that type of technology and thinking and applied it to people who are predisposed to excellence. And the ideal version is that you have someone predisposed and doing these things. So for me, it took me 10 years to win my first bodybuilding contest. I never won anything. And during that journey, I began to learn the ins and outs of what could be done in dietary manipulation, length of time, training modalities, experiments. So I had to experiment with a lot of different things because not much worked. And so that gave me a wide breadth to work from to start. And then I started looking outside of that. And I think one of the challenges in today's world is that people are compartmentalized more and more in their thinking. And I think it's important to expose yourself to a broad amount of fields, because oftentimes by getting sort of a rote understanding of an opposite field, you can start testing hypotheses in your own life and experiment. And every now and then some of these things actually work. I'll give you an example. So hyperbaric chambers, which were used for strokes and had positive healing outcomes, were experimented on, I think, in the 1990s with a hockey player, Pavel Bure, for the Vancouver Canucks, who tore his knee, and they were able to get him to recover much quicker. Now, that was 30 years ago. That was very novel, and hyperbaric chambers are used by virtually every professional sporting institution on the planet. They're great in a medical situation, but they had athletic implications as well. Same as detoxification pathways, maybe using steam, ozone, or sauna effects. And there's metabolic benefits of detoxification, which could lead to better outcomes in lean body mass and heart rate variability, sleep outcomes, all these sort of things. And so now biohackers are using the combination of the two. And I've just kind of bodybuilders are the original biohackers. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you why. Bodybuilding, you're trying to overcome two counter-evolutionary developments in humanity. And what that means is starvation was the number one problem for humans throughout history. Really big problem. Starvation and exposure to like parasites and things like that. That's what kills a lot of people, right? So it's not a great idea to have too much muscle mass, because you require more calories in order to sustain it. So you want an optimal amount of muscle mass. Number two, having hyper low body fat levels, which is nice cosmetically, maybe, as we in today's world, that people want low body fat levels so they look attractive and fit their jeans and all that sort of stuff. But in a bodybuilding world, you're going into like suboptimal levels. So you are fighting the ability to store body fat, included your capability to preserve life in a starvation environment. Bodybuilding is literally going against those two evolutionary developments, which is ironic. Why would you do that? So, and then it's seen as an ideal. So right off the bat, you're starting against the grain in the first format. And the common threads are most people who are recognized bodybuilders use, or I would say abuse, a variety of hormonal agents in order to achieve their outcomes. Growth hormone, insulin, testosterone, anti-catabolic drugs, painkillers, etc. You can just, the line continues to expand And it's like that in maybe in a different modality with, say, the endurance sports, like the Tour de France winners and stuff, like what the kind of, they might be using different drugs, but they're using all sorts of drugs to put their performance. When I decided to go into natural bodybuilding, I was instantly cut off from those options. I cut myself. So that allowed me to work primarily on technologies that helped me with my outcomes, but oftentimes produced better outcomes from a health profile, unlike my counterparts who would get faster and better results on the top side, but would suffer the health consequences. And it turned out that worked out, because here I am at 50, and many of the competitors who I admired, who hit a higher threshold of muscle mass and lean body mass as professional athletes, like, like the Dorian Yates and the Ronnie Colemans, which are extraordinary athletes. I'm not trying to take anything away. Those people had to leave their careers due to extreme injuries. Ronnie Coleman, there's a great movie on him. He's completely compromised now. He's maybe the greatest bodybuilder ever. Dorian Yates tore his muscles extensively. He lives a more holistically health-oriented style now. Dorian's a great, we met recently in Dubai, which was nice. And so their careers were cut short by just the sheer volume that they wanted to get into the mass and what they had to do that. I was planning, well, I can't win that game. I knew I couldn't win that game because of my genetic limitations. But I said, you know what? I can win the long game. And now we've turned the corner that's proving to be true. So the biohacking technology, I just wanted to set the page. I know a lot of people just want to go to the hack, but I wanted to share the philosophy because I want to impart on your listeners that putting together a long-term strategy of lifestyle interventions that become just commonalities is what's going to lead you to that longevity outcome that you're looking for. You can't shortcut your way through it. You can use tools, but you need to have the strategy in place beforehand. Otherwise, you're going to slip into that chemical response program. And I think that has consequences